Alright, Anthony, so I finally got to work on your car again. So same way, it's just the same way. And I had the panel removed because I had the vacuum element leak, and the window, I didn't like the window the way it works. So here's the problem here with the window. Now, looking at rivets, it appears to be original regulator. Alright, they don't seem to be drilled. The stoppie for some reason has been shifted, so that is something to deal with. Also over here, try to make a little close up with some light. Alright, so you see there's supposed to be Teflon behind the metal. I can't see if there is any. It seems like there is none. See on these sliders, see how they slide against the rail, but obviously that is to be seen. It feels like there is none. Well, maybe. Well, anyway, these are the guides for the window. So they guide the window up and down. The biggest issue is here, as you can see, broken slider, right? This is the slider that actually moves the regulator, and if you look further in there, it even eaten up the metal. See how the metal is all deformed up and down, because this is where the window up, goes up and down. The final close. This is terrible. So, and thus the noise is the noise of the window when it opens and closes. Show you that. Put the ignition on. The whole regulator. It's pretty bad. So I don't want to close this panel before I replaced a regulator. Show you something in action, actually. See what's happening down there. As you can see, instead of riding on plastic, it rides on metal. So, regulators, at least this one for sure. The other side, let's see. Just make, let's take a look at the other side. The other side, I didn't even check before. That one. That one sounds okay. So, the rear windows, it's the next thing for me to see, because it's still holding. Now as for the engine, I have my booster connected right now. This is my problem here. As you can see, the RPM fluctuation. This is a problem because when you go in gear, what happens is it kind of jolts. So it's like you're in gear right now and it wants to move forward because it's not. I have to make a list of parts because in order for this to be repaired, and it shakes. Okay, I'm not gonna run it, it's just loud. So, what needs to be done is that I need to replace the risers, like flanges. While I do flanges, might as well replace that breather pipe. And also might as well to do ignition cables, because as you can see, they're all like taped and they chewed up, and they're no good, man. That is that. Then I believe there's also, yes, there was also the EGR valve, but that's not in play right now, so it doesn't matter. But this intake has to come out, and obviously to remove the intake you got to take all these things apart. Valve cover gaskets, I'm not sure if I would want to replace those. They look to be fine, they're not leaking, because once you remove the intake, obviously you have access to valve covers, but you have access to valve covers, you have access to other things, so not to open the huge can of worms, might as well just stick with what we have. I'm just saying, it's a process, but I want to have parts for that, at least the tube. I want to have both flanges, and I want to have intake manifold gaskets, and I want to have ignition cables, because I would replace them. Yes, we probably will have to go off the market because they're extremely expensive. Aftermarket ones are not so much. So this is what we are, because I want to wrap up with the engine, then window regulator on a driver's side door for sure, that is needed, and then the trim panels. Yes, I know I'm gonna have to deal with those, and then springs for the rear, and that is basically all I see for now. Okay, but the rear regulators might be okay, maybe. But that's what I need the parts for. So I'm going to go and I think this was leaking too, this little piece. I'm not sure, I don't remember. I think I have the canister. Well, I had the canister for somebody else. Let me see what I have there in the trunk. This might be the canister. Yeah, coolant reservoir. So yeah, so I got yours, and this is gonna be with a different cap, because that cap, I remember it was something wrong with it, so that's why I bought it. Either I think the spigot is broken. This piece is leaking right around here somewhere, so that's why I bought it. Okay, so engine mounts, again, if you want to do those, we can do those, but that's what I need at the moment. I'll make a list, and and then we're gonna move on with whatever we need and continue the repairs. Right now I'm looking into switches, because basically we're missing the roller blind switch. This is one of these. There's supposed to be one more for the fader, for the radio fader. This is old school fader with old school radio, so it's not like, you know, all of this stuff. Well, you know, I'm gonna deal with that later. But if you don't have the fader, it's like a little roller, the radio will not play. So I will have to check up on diagrams and just short it out. You don't really need to fade from rear to back, back to front, front to back. No point. It's a two-door car, so it doesn't matter. So, but I still need to short it out, so this way the amplifier activates in place. So I'm just gonna leave it in there. A roller blind is missing, the switch in itself. So, and I'm also missing one of the window switches. I do have two of these, and you know, there's already one in here, so that's not going to help. The backing is all broken, so I will have to glue these things. Now this one is worn out, so I think I'm gonna buy another one, because once I glue these things in place, that's it, it's the end of it. And also we're missing child safety lock switch over here. That is also something to do. But all of these, they're like, you know, this was not a greatest candidate to be refinished, because all of these pieces are all broken and switches barely hold on, and the plastics, they're all weak. But it is what it is. We already have it, so I'm going to deal with it. I have to also take out this, because this is the wrong mirror control, and it's barely moving anyway. The switches you have in the trunk, they're from E-Class. E-Class switches, they're round. They're not square like this. Okay, so they're rounded off. We cannot use those. Wrong switches. Also here, I believe the panel is inside, but I have to deal with those broken wires, and I think the panel you got does not have this. You don't really need this, because I mean, actually, I don't know, one of them is not there, so I will have to probably reroute cables somehow just to fill the opening, and just suspension is already converted, so we don't need this button at all to start off with. I might, well, whatever, I'll deal with it. I'm just like, I'm looking what I need right now so I can order. I'll order the regulator, I'll deal with the switches here, order the switch for the roller blind, child lock, so I can wrap this all up. I mean, I can't, you know, this is terrible. If I want to push windows up and down, this is insane. I mean, all these wires, the panel, this piece is broken right here. See, all the tabs are broken, but you can see I made a couple of holes. So I'm gonna put mechanics wire in there, and then I'm gonna snap it closed because it's gonna snap in. But once I snap that in, then I won't be able to move the panel no more. So I want to deal with switches so they're ready to go, the plugs and everything. Although I might not find the plug for that side, I'm still looking. All right, so I'll keep you posted later. I just wanted to let you know that this panel is all intact. It's okay.